Hello, dear friends. So in this lesson, we're going to try to install Anaconda distribution system for Linux users. So let's get started. Now, depending on your experience, you may have encountered more than one way to use the Python programming language. But I just want to be clear that in our course, we will be looking at Anaconda IDE in the Jupyter Notebook and the Jupyter Lab interface in IDE. So what is IDE? Why would we be using it? Yeah, good question. So we can say that there are interfaces that programmers use when writing computer programs. And then by the end of the course, you'll be able to clearly understand what I mean about setting up Anaconda. So we'll be able to use this Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab interface within our Anaconda distribution. So first of all, we will download Anaconda. We're going to finalize the installation process by activating Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab, and that way they'll be waiting and ready for us to be using in Anaconda. So I just want to get started quickly. I'm here using Ubuntu as the operating system. Of course, Ubuntu is open source, free, and as a free operating system, it was actually developed based on a Linux kernel. So we'll fire up our internet browser, so I choose Firefox. And now we will need to write the name of our distributor that we want to download into our browser, and that will be Anaconda. And just look for anaconda.com, and you can use whatever sort of search phrase you like. But it is absolutely one of the most popular data science platforms out there. Anaconda site, and we'll come across a screen like this. And you see here, we'll need to go to the download option for Anaconda. All right, so here it is, my friends. Look at this. There is a Getting Started section on the top right, so just click there. Now, there are a few options about Anaconda service products, so we can click on the Download Anaconda Installer option. And then see that after clicking, the following screen will come up. Here we have to choose according to our operating system. Now, we do want to install on Linux, and that's why I'll click the Bit Installer section under the Linux option. Cool, so now our browser asks what to do with a file. And here I'll just check the Save File option, say OK, and that begins to download. Okay, so now that our download has started, I just want to follow the process here. And the duration of the process, of course, depends on your computer and internet speed. But that's mine done, so I'll just click on the file. And so here we need to enter the downloads file. And yeah, see, here's where the file's been downloaded. And it is a file with the extension sh. Now, of course, because we are in Linux, unlike any other of the operating systems, we will have to run it on the command line. So in other words, we will run it on a terminal with the term Linux. So that way the installation process can be a little daunting for those who have not used Linux before, but that's why we are going to check it out, and we are going to do a step-by-step introduction by going to the Anaconda's website. So when you go to the site, see, so when I scroll down a bit, there's a section about documentation in here. You can always learn a bit more, and there's a Learn More option. Just click on that. And you see there is an installation option related to the installation. So we click here. And since we want to install it on Linux, we will need to click on the installation on Linux option. So see here, we are now where we want to be. And if I scroll down a little bit more, there's some sequential information about the installation. There's a section about downloading Anaconda. Yeah, we already did that, so we've got the first step done. Now, the second step is, of course, related to validation, not necessarily our concern. So I want to bring your attention to the third step. This is what interests us. So there's a command example that we need to write into the terminal for installation. Now, here's something critical that we'll need to do before using this code. This is the same version as the version in the code and the version that we downloaded. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'll just make this page smaller. So open up a terminal where we'll write the code. So I'll right-click this terminal anywhere on the desktop and select Open Terminal. And now let's take the terminal down. So we'll do a version check. So we come to the downloads, see the file with the SH extension that I downloaded, 2021.05. So what is the version that I will write into the terminal? 2020.02. Well, then the first thing will be then to fix it. Yeah. All right, so I'm just right-clicking and copying this code written here for us to use, and I'll come to the terminal that I previously opened on the desktop and paste this code in. And sure enough, we are going to change the version. So let's see what our current version was, 2021.05. All right, cool. So that's why you check. I'll just delete 2020.02 from here and write 2021.05 instead. So see, it says here to continue the installation process, review the contract. So I'll say enter. Now, unlike any of the other operating systems, all contract-related clauses appear one by one in Linux. So I'll just try to finish the whole contract by pressing enter repeatedly. Okay, it looks like I pressed it a couple of times too many. Anyway, okay, so here we get a question, and it says, do you accept license terms? We got to say yes, so we'll write yes in here. So now it asks for the directory where Anaconda will be installed. Now, my advice, of course, is just don't make any changes in this series, my friends. Let's just perform the installation under this directory by saying enter. So now we'll hit enter, press it, and starts the installation. So the duration of this process, of course, depends on the computer and internet speed. So we'll just wait until the end of the process. So now it looks like it has installed all of our packages. And again, we've got another question to answer. Do you want the installer to start Anaconda 3? Well, let me think about it. Yes. So we write yes here. Installation completes. All right. Now, here we are presented with an IDE called PyCharm Pro. And remember, I asked you earlier, and you were probably thinking, are you just not going to answer? What does IDE mean? Well, it was called interfaces that make our work easier when using programming languages. So here we will use Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter Lab, which are also located in Anaconda, not this PyCharm Pro that Anaconda offers us in addition. Because, well, I'll be honest with you, we consider Python as a programming language in terms of data science and artificial intelligence, and we teach that with mutual interaction. But here we'll be using with Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab interfaces that Anaconda will offer us. So therefore, we just don't want to go down that road. So that means right here we'll start Anaconda. And let's take this terminal down and come over here to our documentation page and examine the next steps. And I'll just enlarge the screen a little bit. So looky here, we have applied these steps. And last step, the 12th step, we are presented with an option to verify the installation. All right, so I'll just click here. Now look, here are some of the demos for Windows, for Mac, for Linux. Let's go here to the Linux part. And see, there is an article here. So it says, open Anaconda Navigator with Anaconda Navigator command. So if Anaconda is properly installed, the Anaconda Navigator will open, and it gives us a code to write to the new terminal. Then right-click and copy the code. Cool. So now we're going to close all of the terminal units that we have opened before. And let's get that down too. All right, my friends, now we'll open up a new terminal on the desktop and we'll paste the command that we copied in the documentation section, right? So this time when we run the code, it will start to open in our installation of Anaconda. So let's enter it. And you see, my friends, they are starting to open. So after that, you can open Anaconda with this command. All right, so it finally opens, and look at this. You can see all the interfaces in our Anaconda distribution. There is more than one interface, my friend. So this is data lore, and there are interfaces such as Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, Spider, and what we're going to do is use one of the Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab interfaces. So we'll have a look at some of the other services of Anaconda. There is an environment part. So this is the place where the installation of modules and library institutions will be done. There are also learning and community sections, which are often lots of fun in your downtime. There are some documents in the learning section. There are various events and different news about the community in the community section. We won't be going into that at all here, but I don't want to dissuade you from doing that, my friend. So for now, we're going to go back to the home section and run our Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab. So we'll start from Jupyter Notebook first. And sure enough, if we hover over it and click Launch, it will direct us to our interface. So that's pretty cool. And you see how our Jupyter Notebook opens with a new web tab interface. Now, since we will examine the Jupyter Notebook in detail in the next few sections, I'm only just going to open it here and show you how to do that. So next, we will open our Jupyter Lab. And here we are back to our Anaconda distributor. And I'll just hover over the Jupyter Lab and click Launch. And it's opening. All right, so this is yet another interface that we will use. And again, since we will examine Jupyter Lab in detail in the next sections, we will end the lesson here just by showing you how to open it. So just review or poke around a little bit, have a quick read of some of the documents, and we will see you in the next one. So that's it. We have learned how to install the Anaconda distributor on the Linux operating system. We can also open the distributor and activate our interfaces in it. So in the next lesson, we will examine the Jupyter Notebook itself. All right. So I hope to see you in the next lesson. Until then, have a great day.